So my name is Sachin Duggal. I'm the chief wizard at Nivio. A term that we use to explain our product is we bring the magic back to computing, and that's really what we think the cloud does. It allows you to move away from having to think about the tech behind technology and really just focus on the use. And that's what we deliver. We deliver the Windows desktop from the cloud that you rent. We deliver data so that it can be synchronized across your devices. And finally, we allow you to rent software that you would normally have to buy, things like Microsoft Office, Project, CorelDRAW, and so on and so forth. We deliver it to any screen, so you could have an iPhone, an iPad, an Android, a Mac, a Windows, a Chromebook, and you'll get the entire Windows experience. So one of the use cases that we've actually seen is someone taking an iPhone, plugging it into a 20-inch screen, using a Bluetooth keyboard, and using the iPhone as a touchpad. And his iPhone is now his laptop. So he plugs it out of the dock, puts it in and walks, and that's all he has to carry to his next office or his next location. And that's really showing the power of how this magic comes back. The magic of computing is not necessarily having all of this hardware and 500 devices that some organizations have. It's really about having that personality that follows you across device. No licensing, no viruses, no downtime, no upgrading hardware, no worrying about compatibility, and no really having to sync that data, upload it somewhere else. It kind of follows you wherever you are. It's everywhere and nowhere as such.
Why the focus on magic in your company belief system? You focus on that, you say that quite a bit. What is it about that? What is it about the charm of magic?
We had a kid here today, 11-year-old, when we showed him the desktop, you could just see his eyes lit up immediately on his Mac, and he said, "Oh my God, this is the most amazing thing I've seen." And that's the same kind of reaction you see on a magic trick. Because the ability to deliver something that is just abstracted away from the engineering headache, the complications, seamlessly it's magical. And also it goes back to our belief around user experience, and that's why we're launching at Macworld and not anywhere else, because the experience and the user flow and the journey just needs to be so seamless that you kind of think, well, hang on a second, there's got to be something mystical about how this is working. And it fits into the company culture, where we often explain to people that we're this cross between a Gandhian culture and a little bit of Playboy almost.
Is there ways that your company is helping the world through your product?
Yes, so the story behind Nivio was Saurabh and I, Saurabh's my co-founder. We were sitting in our dorm room in Imperial. This is I think December 10th, 2004, and it was at 2:30 in the morning. We were doing coursework. We said that we'd already built a software business before, not at obviously any of this kind of scale. And we said, our big play was going to be something that would solve a wider social impact, socio-economic impact. We believed a lot in education because we think that's where you find the future stars, whether they're academic, entrepreneurial. And so we set ourselves a fairly audacious goal of educating 100 million kids over 50 years. So to do that, we need a lot of cash. We realized we weren't going to just teach them by reading them books. And so we knew that the solution, we wanted it linked to a for-profit enterprise. And so the FPE needed to be able to do something in the computing space. And that's when we said, hang on a second, why don't we just change the notion of buying this hardware and moving it to a data center? And the data center is now called the cloud. And so specifically, we gave some of our stock to the foundation. So actually the foundation owns a large chunk of the company. Last year we started doing activity around the foundation as well, because in education, before you can start educating a 6-year-old or anyone around the world, whether they're in a privileged or an underprivileged background, you need to solve nutrition, AIDS, conservation, and shelter. Those are key things. So we worked, for example, with Alicia Keys at Keep a Child Alive and helped raise $3.5 million for children with AIDS in South Africa and India. And so we're doing both pre-ecosystem and then post-ecosystem, which is, for example, the foundation owns stock in Nivio. The foundation will also own stock in other tech companies. It's already made some investments that allow people to have a place to go work, but also a place to come and ask for small amounts of capital to do ideas. And in 2012, we launched our first 2 schools in Jordan and in India, from the ages of 6 and above. And we're using all the Nivio technology. We're using things like Skype. We're allowing kids to video conference with each other using Skype and learn from each other. And we're teaching entrepreneurship through games right in the beginning. Our view is, again, this is about magic. Forget that notion of, I need my device. There's no concept of my device. There is a concept of a device. And we will beam the experience, whether it's your data or the full desktop and apps, to any one of those devices.